It is exactly 11:33 a.m. Welcome back to News and Views right here on Salam Media. And I actually mentioned this in the intro. I'm going to say it again. We have Peggie Mars, founder of Wheel Well NGO online, and we're going to talk about getting to school safely. And I think it is such a tragic and sad coincidence that we're going to be talking to her this morning about that matter, knowing that yesterday there was a horrific tragedy in Vanderbijl Park where 12 school pupils lost their lives. Peggy, a very good morning to you. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, and thank you for having me, Julia, and making this space for us to talk about this very, very serious topic. It was with absolute horror that I opened the news yesterday morning and to see what has happened. But what broke me this morning is when I saw photos of those learners who died in that crash. That was too much for me to deal with. So thank you
Absolutely.
for having us here today.
I asked my producer. She worked on this. Trying to. She put together this interview. She worked
Yeah,
on it on the weekend, and that is why I said it was such a horrific coincidence
yeah,
that we've got
yeah,
this story on the show today.
yeah,
Little
yeah,
realizing that we're going to be talking about this
yeah,
horrific accident and why your
mm,
foundation, your NGO rather, uh, Wheel Well is so crucial, and why we need to understand what you're all about, and why all of us as South Africans need to embrace what you're going to talk about today. So,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
God bless. Thank you
Thank you.
and welcome. So,
Thank you.
tell us when and how did you start this NGO and why? More
Certainly,
importantly, why?
certainly, Willwell was founded in 2012, more as a result as a favor to a friend. A colleague was doing a car seat collection in Cape Town, and she had a huge response from Gauteng, and needed somebody just to run with it. Collect the seats, maybe clean them, maybe hand them out, see what happens. But just to make sure that those donations are accepted and the gratitude was shown. And as I always do when there's a new issue that I'm not understanding, I start reading. And I realized that our children are desperate for somebody just to point out all the issues that is child road safety. And 2012, 5,500 children died on our roads. That is
Mm.
absolutely unacceptable. That's 13 children a day that died that year. Last year, it is down to 1,250. And that is a wonderful, wonderful progress. And we do that not we have achieved that not just as well, but because you have shared your platform with us, because we have these spaces to talk about these issues, and because we have powerful partners that support us. And the more people support us, the more we can do. Um, so it's been 14 years. It has been 14 years of very hard work, knocking on doors, learning a lot, and today we can say that we are still standing strong. We are still as committed as the first day, if not more.
Please God, may you continue.
Thank
So
you. Thank
let's talk about how do you get, and we're going to talk about the
you.
awareness campaigns. Undoubtedly, that's part of
Mm,
the work you do.
yeah,
How do you disseminate all of that information? Do you go to schools? Do you go to communities? Because it's important that kids understand
yeah,
safety.
yeah,
And yesterday's tragedy was in a scholar
yeah,
transport, but we're
yeah.
also aware of the fact that kids walking on the pavements and the roads are
Mm,
at risk as well. So talk
yeah.
to us about campaigns.
Certainly, before I get to the campaigns, I just want to touch on why road safety for children needs a special focus. Children have a very specific profile. They are impulsive. There's not much filter between think and do. So if their ball rolls into the street, they will run after it without thinking. And that is all to do with the development of the prefrontal cortex that is only fully formed, that perception of risk and how that knowledge of how to react to such situations as they present themselves, that ability is only fully formed at the age of 25. So children don't understand risk yet, and they do not know how to implement what they've learned in the situation when it happens. Then they are smaller in stature. A child of 6 walking in between vehicles is invisible to us because they are below the line of the vehicles. So a child that runs out in the street where there are vehicles parked, you see them when it's almost too late. And then they are also so much more fragile in their little bodies than we are. Their little bones need to harden still, the skull needs to harden still. And because they are shorter in stature, a child's vital organs is at bumper level, where us as adults, a bumper will hit us on the legs. Two different scenarios and two different outcomes in case of a crash for pedestrians. So, whereas we have to teach children road safety, we absolutely have to, we have to give them the support as well in the situations where they find themselves. So, we have to have safe walking places for our children to come to walk to and from school. There needs to be a safe zone at the entrance of the vehicle where children are dropped off and collected and where they gather before they go in. Now, every school has a has a safety officer already, and I'm appealing to schools to ask that person to be the road safety officer as well, to stand at that gate when the children arrive and depart, to keep an eye on procedures. If there is a school transport vehicle that looks unsafe, take a couple of photographs, maybe approach the driver, maybe ask him if something can be done. The whole community needs to be involved to keep our children safe. And in that community, I don't just mean the people that live in and around schools, it is the entire village that has to raise this child. That is the various departments of transport, of education. It is our law enforcement entities. It is the governing bodies at schools. It's everybody is involved in that vital safety chain. So we have three basic campaigns that we run. One is for children in private vehicles. That is our Car Seats for Kids campaign, where we ask parents to donate their used car seats to us. We will clean them, make sure they are safe, and then they go to parents who can't afford them new. And car seats can be dropped off at any super quick dealership. Then we have halo beanies for our little pedestrians. This is handcrafted beanies made by people in the community for the children in their community, and these beanies are hand crocheted or knitted with reflective yarn incorporated in it. Visibility is the most effective thing to keep children safe as they walk to and from school. And about 68% of our children walk to school in the mornings, and that is one of the most dangerous times, especially at winter when it is dark and motorists don't see our children as they walk. And then, of course, there's school transport, our topic of today. This is a huge, huge, huge project, and there are so many aspects that we need to look at, and it's not just as simple as putting a project in place, because we need legislation to change. We need a national school transport policy to be put in place, and then that needs to be enforced and implemented. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done around school transport, and I'm so happy that we can talk about it this morning.
As am I. You talk
Mhm.
about the baby car seats. I, in
Yes,
fact, remember having done that interview, and I thought it was such a wonderful
it
initiative.
is.
And so glad to hear that it is
Yeah.
still ongoing.
It
God
is
bless.
ongoing and it is going strong, and we are desperate for car seat. So if there's listeners today that have a car seat that they no longer use, please go and drop it off at your nearest super quick. They will send it to us and we will do
Wonderful.
the rest. Thank you.
Wonderful. So, by way of this show as well, we'll promote the car seat
Thank
drive
you.
as well.
Thank you
Let's
for
go. Let's go for an ad break. We'll be back in a minute
that.
or two to continue our discussion.
Thank you.
your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
The chaos and destruction in the Gaza Strip is beyond comprehension. Virtually everyone is displaced, hungry, and in urgent need of life-saving humanitarian support. The Al-Imdad Foundation has been working tirelessly to address the health, nutrition, and water needs of the population. Our hospital, water deliveries, and hot meal programs are made possible with your support. Your donation, big or small, is a lifeline for those in dire need. Help Gaza survive. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
World-class financial services only at Sapphire Global, your financial partner. If you are looking for Islamic, Sharia, and ethical financial products, look no further. Sapphire Global offers a wide range of financial service offerings from short-term to life and investments. A full-service center with all financial requirements under one brand. Our highly skilled and experienced consultants are ready to help protect your financial future. Contact us on 041 001 0184 or visit our website on www.sapphireglobalfs.com. Sapphire Global is an authorized financial services provider.
Kids these days are smart, and when you're competing for their attention against their smartphones, you need to make smart choices, like using Sunfoil triple refined pure sunflower oil in every meal you make. It's naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether you're cooking, frying, or baking, you get the great tasting results that'll get their attention faster than the latest app. And if that doesn't work, change the Wi-Fi password. Sunfoil. Now we're cooking.
It's a new beginning. It's a new era. Salam Media, humanitarian journalism.
Welcome back. My guest is Peggie Mars, founder of Wheel Well NGO. We are talking about scholar transport and safety, obviously. Peggie, I know you alluded to the fact that you started in this line of work due to supporting a friend.
Yeah.
What was the actual circumstances that you found yourself involved as the founder of Wheel Well?
At the time, what got me the most was that child road deaths are preventable. With
Okay.
a few small tweaks, with changes in legislation and enforcement of that, we can reduce this number drastically. The United States have a national school transport system where they have the yellow school buses. You see it in movies and series and so on. Everybody knows about it. 0.01% of their child road deaths were due to school transport. Now, if we can achieve that, I'm happy. But it is a long road to there, and we need to put that system in place to keep our children safe. You know, the Human Rights Council have just issued a report on the Northwest Province where it showed that at every single level it fails. And that is when you have a crash like that. Road safety is several safety nets at all the different layers. You get the Department of Transport, you get the legislation, you get the enforcement, you get the drivers, the vehicle, the road conditions. And if everything fails, we have a crash like that. If that system is strong, failure at one level will not necessarily result in a devastating crash like yesterday. So we have to work at every single safety net that is available to our children, and we can start with legislation. Currently, the loading of vehicles, as per the National Road Traffic Act in Regulation 231, states that children counted for the loading of vehicles. Children under 3 don't count. That means in a minibus taxi, you can load as many of these under 3-year-olds as you can fit in, as long as you don't exceed the gross vehicle mass allowed for that vehicle. Children between 3 and 6, 2 children will count as a person, because they reckon the calculation is that 2 children of that size make up the weight of an adult person. 3 children between the age of 6 and 14 count as 2 people. Now, that means that there's always more bodies in that vehicle than there are seats and seat belts allowed. Now, this is a safety issue, but it has a socio-economic impact on our families, because there's a difference in the fare that parents will pay, whether it is 20 children on a school transport or just 12 plus a driver. And these things have to be looked at. We
Um,
have to have subsidized schools transport and make sure that those subsidies work as they are intended to.
and sadly, we're hoping that the tragedy of
Mm.
yesterday is one of many, will put the obviously put the fire under government's feet so
I'm
that
hoping so. I'm already seeing the signs, Julia. There's a meeting tomorrow in Citybeng with all
yeah.
the local stakeholders towards safer school transport. That is where we need to start, but it must not end there. It mustn't end with beautiful words. It
Yeah.
needs to end with action, with putting things in place that will actually keep our children safe. And we can do it. It just needs commitment from everybody, all up the hierarchy towards the safety of our children. Safety is a human right, and we have a Child Act that is world class, and it
Mhm.
says that the safety of the children should be considered in every decision made about them. So why not in school transport?
So sadly, here in South Africa, we have a unique problem, a unique
Mm,
situation
mm,
regarding transport for our children.
yeah.
Actually, follow the model, the American model, but once
Mm.
again, you're going to have all sorts of, barriers to it,
Oh yes.
that is concerned. Um,
Oh yes.
budget being one of the biggest ones. So
Yeah.
it's left to the parents to ensure that they get the kids into
Yes.
safe scholar transport.
Yeah.
Kind of wondering, you know, do these minibus taxis have seat belts for passengers? Because that should become mandatory. If
It
you don't
is.
have,
It is mandatory. They are manufactured with seatbelts.
are they?
Of course, it is
Okay.
the law. All new vehicles sold in South Africa has to be equipped with seatbelts, and they have to adhere to an SABS standard.
We're
It is the
talking
law.
we're talking new vehicles. Look at the
New
vehicle.
vehicle.
Yeah, look at
Yeah,
the vehicles that's transporting
yeah,
our
but this,
children. Oh
yeah,
my
this
goodness.
this law has been enforced for many, many, many years. Um, so most vehicles on our roads will have seat belts. Certainly, minibus taxis have the seat belt. They are sometimes removed, and that is the problem. Um, we teach our children that they have to use a seat belt, but then we also need to give them a seat with a seat belt to sit on.
I'm also thinking
Mhm,
that the power, um, you know, taking yesterday's tragedy into
mm,
account, the
mm.
power now is in the hands of parents
Yeah,
and school authorities. I
yeah,
think we now need to become super vigilant as far as transport of
yes,
our school children is concerned, and
yes,
definitely take unroadworthy vehicles off the roads. And we
mm,
also need to ensure that the drivers are licensed and
yeah,
that they are responsible, because
yeah,
given what's been reported about yesterday's driver, he was
Mm.
pretty reckless and he was very young, 22 years old.
Yeah.
Did he even have a license?
You know, Julia, I spoke to you before about the development of the prefrontal cortex and our ability to assess risk. That is only fully developed in a person between 25 and 27 years.
Sure.
22-year-olds shouldn't be driving our children around. I know that we have a desperate situation in our country for employment, but at what cost? You know, we need to balance these things. I am
Mhm.
fully aware of the socioeconomic aspects of our country, acutely so. But we cannot use that as an excuse not to do anything. Our parents are empowered, and here's what they do. You know, a quick check of a vehicle will show you whether that vehicle is roadworthy or not. Look at the tires. If they are threadbare, that vehicle is not safe. Look at the windscreen. If there's a crack on it, that vehicle is not safe. Look at the license, whether the vehicle is licensed. Ask the driver for his license, and he must also have a PRDP, which is a public driving permit. And you have to have that permit in order to transport people for reward. So those are quick things that people can check. We all have a cell phone. We can all record data, take photos, make a video of how children are dropped off at your school, take it to your local police station. If all of us can be activists for our children to keep them safe, when we organize ourselves, we are powerful as a school governing body, as a parents, as a collective of a community. We can drive this change and make sure that it doesn't stay with beautiful words from government, but that it becomes action for our children.
I kind of also question
Mm,
the practice here in South Africa that most
yeah,
children who turn 18 years old, they go out for their driver's license. And you keep talking
yeah,
about the prefrontal cortex. We
yeah.
know that at 18, I mean, you're given driver's license at
Yes,
18. How
yes,
responsible are you? You know, what
exactly,
decisions do you make? So that's something that
exactly.
needs to be addressed as well.
Yes, you can go and look in the statistics. Drivers between the age of 18 and 28, highest death toll, because their ability to assess risk is not fully developed. When you group them together, when there's a couple of them in the car, they egg each other on. Oh, take a chance. Oh, go faster. Oh, this is so much fun. Yeah, but it's also very dangerous. You know,
Absolutely.
so there need to be limitations. So if parents were listening to this and think, oh my God, what do I do? Here's what you do. Your 18-year-old that you buy a car for, make sure that it is a basic car, not the highest speed model that is available, the most powerful vehicle available. Basic car. They just need to puddle along. They need to get to school or university or the mall. Um, they are not allowed to take on passengers. They are not allowed to drive after 8 and before 5 in the morning. So, because those are nighttime is more dangerous than during the day due to visibility and all of that. So you can put limitations on that, and it's fine to limit your child for their safety. There are other countries where a staggered driver's license are issued, that for the first few years of your driver's license, these limitations are enforced. We don't do that here. Why? Don't know yet.
Now, well, sadly, we do know what happens at the licensing
Yes.
department. I'm not quite sure if anything's
Yes.
changed there, but people,
Ah.
lots of youth are driving
Mm,
around without licenses or have
yeah.
bribed to get a license. We're going to have to wrap up your
Yeah.
key pieces of advice to parents, to government, to school governing bodies, to schools
Yeah.
as well. What is
Yeah.
their responsibility here?
Let's take the tragedy that happened yesterday to motivate us into action, not just in beautiful words, but and posts on social media, but actual action that we can would do to keep our children safe. That we as a community and parents are welcome to contact us. We will help them in the training that is available for a road safety officer. We have that. We have a vehicle checklist that parents can use to as a tool. You know, especially school transport, where buses and so on, when they go out for activities and for events. Check the vehicle before they go. Communicate with your local law enforcement and urge them to take it further. They have structures they can report to that go up higher. And let us all use this tragedy to do more for our children. Our children are acutely aware of the dangers that they face in transport. They are not always empowered to act on it. So we have to stand by them, and we have to hold our authorities accountable. They were voted in to lead us. Let them lead.
Peggy Mouse, thank you indeed. You are the founder
Thank you.
of Wheel Well NGO. Continue spreading the safety around
Thank you.
school
Thank you.
transport. And I hope that out of this tragedy, we are going to get a government sitting up, taking notice. But apart from
I'm
taking
hoping
notice,
so.
let us see some action. But God
Thank you.
bless. Keep
Thank
it
you.
up.
God bless too. And from your lips to God's ears.
Thank you indeed.
Thank you.
It is exactly 11:59. We are moving along. We are getting into the next hour of the mid-morning show. Please stay with us. We have two wonderful interviews lined up. The one is with speech therapist and audiologist Atia Dadabai, and the second one is industrial psychologist Ras Naidu. Stay with us.